All right, let's take a look. We are on section 3.1. Oops, let me erase that. And we are talking about parallel lines. All right, let's write that down. Everybody writing this? Tamir, are you writing this down?
I already wrote it down.
You already wrote it down?
Yeah.
Wow, how'd you know what I was going to write? Because that's the name of the lesson. Good guess. All right, so we're going to talk about parallel lines and a thing called transversals. I'm not going to write that down right now, but let's just talk about parallel lines. Well, if the section is talking about parallel lines, let's talk about what a parallel line actually is. And you probably talked about this before at some point, haven't you, in your education, about lines that are parallel to each other? So let's do this. Let's draw a line like this, and let's draw a line like this. Okay. And we say those two lines right there are parallel to each other. But why are they parallel to each other? Somebody just give me, just don't look in the book and give me the book explanation. Just, they what, Jaden? Yeah, they never run into each other. They never touch each other, somebody said. All right, so that's good. They never touch each other. So this is how we show parallel lines on the paper. You know how when you show a right angle, how do you know lines are perpendicular to each other when you look at the picture? Just because it looks like they are? Because they're what? Well, not just because they intersect. Yeah, it makes two right angles, but in the picture, when you look at a picture, how do you know just by looking at the picture that the lines are perpendicular? The square, right, the little square, that little box, okay? All right, that little box right there means that they're perpendicular. Well, we kind of have the same idea. It's not a box, but this is what we do to show that two lines are parallel to each other when you're just looking at the picture. All right, you just put two little arrows. That second arrow is ugly. Let's try this again. That's not much better, but it's a little bit. All right, so you get two arrows right there on those two lines. It means they're parallel to each other. Again, what does it mean? They don't intersect each other. They don't run into each other. They don't touch each other. All right. There's a little bit more to the definition. Let me just go real quick. They have to be in the same plane. All right. It's two lines in the same plane that do not intersect each other. You may want to jot that down. Let me give you a little visual demonstration of that. All right, these two rulers right here, these two meter sticks. If you're looking at these, as long as they're in the same plane and they don't touch each other, they're parallel. So if I went like this, just kind of eyeball it and just pretend they look parallel, okay? If I went like this with these two rulers, it looks like they're parallel to each other, doesn't it? Because they lie in the same plane. If I wanted to, let's put this ruler down right here. Where is that plane? Does the plane go through like this? No, where's the plane going? Straight up and down like this. What if I put the line like this? Can they still be parallel? Yeah, because the plane could be going like slanted. You see it? The plane could be coming like this as long as they lie in the same plane. So look, anywhere like this. Look, if these rulers were anything like this, they're all parallel to each other. No. These lines are parallel to each other, okay, because they all lie in the same plane. Okay, what about two lines that don't touch each other but don't lie in the same plane? This is what they would look like. Do you see that? They don't lie in the same plane. Let's just put this one down so I don't have enough hands. Look at the plane that this line is in. This line is in this plane right here. Is there any way that this line right here can lie in the same plane as this one? No, because this one's going like this. Do you see it? All right, so these two lines are not in the same plane. We call these lines skew lines, S-K-E-W. You want to jot that down? Skew lines, S-K-E-W. We don't talk about that very often, so that's about all I'm going to say about that. Okay, two lines that don't lie in the same plane, or when I say don't lie in the same plane, what word have we learned in that first chapter? If they, okay, well, if they do lie in the same plane, they're coplanar, right? If they don't lie in the same plane, then they're non-coplanar. Okay, makes sense. But parallel lines are what? They are what? Coplanar. Again, coplanar means they lie in the same plane. Don't worry too much about skew lines. We're not really going to mess with that. But we are going to do a ton of stuff with parallel lines. Okay, parallel lines is really what we're looking for. All right, here's a little, let's do this. Let's name this line AB. And let's name this CD. Let's show you how to write this. So this is a line. All right, it just, if I wanted to, I could keep it going like this. No, Now in the book, they'll make this arrow look a little bit different than the arrows at the end of the line. I don't know, maybe they'll thicken them up a little bit. Okay, you follow me on that? So these two arrows are the arrows that indicate that the lines are parallel. These are just the arrows at the end of the lines. You okay with that? All right. I could have made them red, yeah, but I didn't. All right, so we'll just do this. Let's call this line AB. So I'll write AB with a little line over top of it. Now it's parallel to CD, so we need a little symbol, don't we? For parallel lines. This is how we show parallel lines. You watching? We just put two straight up and down lines like this, no arrows on them or anything. That means parallel. Notice how we spell parallel. Do you see that? One R, two L's at first, and then one L at the end. Everybody got that? Okay, two L's, one L. Can you remember that? That's the only repeat. That's parallel. Not going to take off if you spell parallel wrong, but it's nice to be able to spell words correctly. All right, so anyway, that's the symbol for parallel lines. I could have called this line L and line M, couldn't I? So you would do the same thing. Line L is parallel to line M. So you'll see that symbol quite a bit. So get used to that. Now, if they don't have the arrows, right, if they didn't have those arrows that show they're parallel, how would you know these lines are parallel? Well, you'd only know it if they told you. Okay, that's the only way. You can't just look at two lines and just assume that they're parallel to each other. I can't just do this. I can't say that this line and this line are parallel to each other. I don't know they're parallel to each other right now. They kind of look like they are, don't they? All right, kind of looks like they are. I don't know for sure if they are or not. But if I did this, guess what now? Now they are. That's right, okay? Because they told me, all right? Person in the book that drew the picture, if they put the little arrows on here, that means that those two lines are parallel to each other. Everybody good with that? Okay. All right, let's talk about another word. This section is called parallel lines and transversals. Let's jot that word down now since we're going to work with that. Transversals. Transversal. I'll just put one. Transversal. All right, what's a transversal? Well, basically, a transversal. Now, these two lines don't have to be parallel to each other. All right. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get rid of that, and I'm going to make it so it's fairly obvious that it's not parallel. Would you agree with that? All right. But what's the parallel line? Let's do it in a different color. Let's go in red this time, just for Jacob. All right. So we'll watch this. This is the transversal right there. This is the transversal. So basically, a transversal is just a line that intersects two or more other lines. All right? So a transversal is just another line that intersects two or more other lines. Right now, we just have two lines, so this is our transversal. All right? That's all there is to it. What I want you to see, though, is this. I want you to see the angles that are formed with these two lines cut by a transversal, and that's how we say it. We say two lines cut by a transversal. Look at the angles. Let's mark some of them. Actually, let's mark all of the ones that I'm going to work with. Look at this line up here. It's got 4 angles associated with it, doesn't it? You see that? With that transversal? It's got how many down here also? Yeah, so I'll call this 5, 6, 7, and 8. What I want you to do is look at them as this group of 4 and this group of 4 down here. You with me? Let's do this. We're going to go over some words. This is some vocabulary. You want to jot down these words, okay? Because these words are going to be important because we're going to use them a lot. We're going to describe them a lot. I'm going to say these angles, and you got to know what I'm talking about. So this is all just vocabulary. It's not really math or anything. It's just learning what the relationships are. What I want to first see, you see a relationship already. What if I said 1 and 2? What's the relationship between 1 and 2? It's something from chapter 1. Yeah, they're supplementary, but they're two angles that form, what is it? Linear pair, right. It's a linear pair. 1 and 2 are a linear pair. What's 1 and 3? A linear pair. There's a lot of linear pairs all over the place, aren't there? 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 3 and 4. You can go down here and do all the same, right? You also know another relationship. This is just review from chapter 1. What is it? Vertical angles. Good. Which ones are vertical angles? 1 and 4, 2 and 3. Come down here. 5 and 8, 6 and 7. We good with that? So when I talk about the relationships between angles, that's what I'm talking about. Right? I'm talking about linear pairs, talking about vertical angles, things like that. Well, we've got a bunch more that we're going to talk about right now, and let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at one, and remember I said this is a whole group of 4 angles up here, and this is a whole group of 4 angles down here. Look at the top left angle. Which angle is the top left in this group? It's angle 1. What's the top left angle in this group? Angle 5. So angle 1 and angle 5 have a relationship with each other, and we call these, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot already. Corresponding. I knew it started with a C. Got it confused with another word. Okay, corresponding angles. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to list all the pairs of corresponding angles. All right. So again, they're the ones that match up with each other. They correspond to each other. Okay, they're kind of in the same spot. See, 1 is in the top left corner, 5 is in the top left corner. So 1, and angle 5 would be corresponding angles. Let's list some more. What about angle 2? Which one do you think is corresponding angle 2? Angle 6. Good. See, that's not too hard, is it? So angle 2 and angle 6. What about angle 3? Angle 3 and angle 7 are corresponding, and angle 4 and angle 8. Okay, they're all corresponding angles. So if I looked at 1 and looked at 5, they're corresponding angles. Now, we're not going to learn this in this lesson right here. We're going to learn it tomorrow. But there's going to be a relationship between 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 3 and 7, 4 and 8. All right? Right now, today, all we're doing is learning the names of those relationships. Tomorrow, we'll learn some math stuff. You know, whether they're equal, whether they add up to something, whether they're whatever. All right? So that's corresponding angles. Let's do another one. Let's do, let me see my list here. Well, let's talk about this real quick. Look at 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do you see how they're all between those 2 lines? Do you see it? See, I've got 2 lines, and 3, 4, 5, and 6 are in between the 2, all right? We call them interior angles, if you want to jot that down. Interior angles. But I'm going to get a little more specific on those. But the interior angles are 3, 4, 5, and 6. Guess what? Guess what 1, 2, 7, and 8 are going to be? Exterior angles, okay? So we got interior angles, they're the ones between the 2 lines. We have exterior angles, they're the ones that are outside the 2 lines. That's easy to see, isn't it? I don't even have to jot those down, I don't think, but you can if you want. What I'm going to do is talk about this. Look at 3 and 6. Look at 3 and 6. There's actually a name for that relationship. They're what kind of angles, first of all? Well, what we just talked about, interior, right. They're interior angles, but watch. One's on one side of the transversal, one's on the other side. Well, so is 5 and 6, but they don't have the same relationship. Look, this one is in this top group of 4. Do you see it? This angle down here is in this bottom group of 4, but they're on opposite sides of the transversal. We say they're not just opposite each other because this and this you might consider opposite each other. But we call these alternate. It means they're complete opposites of each other. This is on the top, this is on the bottom. Do you see it? This is on the left side of the transversal, this is on the right side of the transversal. So we call these alternate interior angles. We'll use that a lot. Let's jot that down. Alternate interior, I'll just shorten that, is that all right? Interior angles. All right, let's list them. So I said angle 3 and what else is alternate interior? Angle 6, right? So 3 and 6. You see they're on opposite sides of the transversal. One's up above and one's down below. You got it? I got one more pair of alternate interior angles. What do you think that would be? 4 and 5. That's right. So let's just jot those down. Again, we'll learn something. Oops. Put 5 first. Let's put 4. It doesn't really matter, but all right, so angle 4 and 5, alternate interior angles. Let's finish this up, and we'll be done. Actually, let's talk about consecutive interior. Look at this. Look at 3 or 4 and 6. I know, I see it. Look at 4 and 6. They're on the same side of the transversal, so they're not alternate interior angles, are they? They call these consecutive interior angles. Consecutive interior angles. All right. So 4 and 6 are consecutive interior angles, and what else do you think? Angle 3 and what else? Angle 5. Good. Okay, let me pause this and I'll put your assignment up here. All right, so there's your assignment right there. Section 3-1, page 174. We're doing 13 to 36. You're doing them all, and that's due tomorrow. Everybody good?